Hi, guys. Welcome to Gabbing It
Hello.
Up. This is our second episode. Sorry for the quality difference that we look different. We're testing things out.
Yeah.
We're trying different things, seeing what works the best for us.
Yeah. And it's kind of giving Zoom call, but I'm not mad about it
I'm not
because
mad
it's going to
either.
make the editing a little bit easier. So we're just going to be adjusting. Thanks for bearing with us. Oh, by the way, I'm Haley,
Oh, and I'm Daijah.
and this is Gabbing It Up. So let's get into personal updates, just like what we want to update each other on for things that happened in the past week.
Okay.
I put mine in our shared note, so like you kind of know what I'm gonna say. I want to know yours because they're a surprise.
They're not a surprise. Nothing that crazy happened.
They're being withheld from me, so to me, I'm like, what could it be?
Okay, I do have one that's kind of related to you. I wore your merch. The I
Slay.
only read smut and horror merch
Slay.
to class. I worked to class, to my Spanish class, and that day we were working on activities, and we had this board that we were working on where we could put sticky notes of like in Spanish things that you like activities. It was divided into like age groups and then like men and women, which I was like the men and women kind of like anybody can do anything, but let me just be quiet because this is Spanish. So it was divided into that, and my teacher or two people complimented me on my sweatshirt, and they were like, "I really like your sweatshirt," and I was like, "Okay." I'm getting what you're saying to me right now. And then my teacher was like, "Oh, like let me look at it." And she was like, "What's smut?" And she's actually young. She's like in her 20s. And we had to explain to her, and someone was like, book porn. And she was like, ah, like she literally started freaking out. But then she was like, they were like, how do you say that in Spanish? And she literally said like pornograph in Spanish, like pornography in Spanish. And then somebody put up there on the activity board, and they were like, women read porn. They were like, Lear pornografia. And I was like, and she was like, who put that up there?
That's so funny. I
Yeah,
love that my merch inspired a whole Spanish class to talk
I
about
know.
reading porn.
I know. It was
That's
so
my
funny. I was like, Haley
legacy.
would love this. Haley
That
would
is the
love
legacy
this.
that I will leave, and I'm proud of it.
I'm glad. Okay.
The slay.
I have a second one too.
Yes.
I got into a Reddit fight.
No. On what
Yeah.
subreddit?
I made a mistake. It was my fault. It was my
What
fault
did you
because I
do?
chose I chose the bad subreddit.
What?
The horror lit subreddit.
No, 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 no.
Yes. All I wanted was I was just trying to find, you know how I asked on my story, like, give me a spooky, or not even spooky, I just said a book recommendation that's snowy by a BIPOC author. The outrage. The outrage on the Reddit was ridiculous. I got a comment. Why does the race of the author matter? And it led down a whole spiral. And I was like, let me be nice because this is Reddit. And I was like, I can't roast people on here the way that I normally can. And
No, you
basically,
could.
they would kick me out.
Oh.
They would probably kick me out. So I was like, let me not roast people like that. And basically, this man was just like, there's no institutional discrimination. So the race of the author doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, first of all, no.
I
But
know.
second of all, like, why is this still a debate? It's like, diversify your shelves, girl. Like, that's been a thing.
I
I don't know
know.
why these men continue to fight.
I know. But I was like, I didn't even do anything. All I asked for was a
No.
BIPOC rec. And I was like, why does it matter to you? And he's like, because it separates us more than it brings us together.
I think he's the one doing the separating me personally.
No. And then he's like, they're always focused on race. And then other people were like, well,
They,
you're focusing on race right now.
I don't think yours was even focused on race.
It wasn't. It was just asking for a rec by a specific subgroup of authors.
Also, it's like when I look for queer own voices stories or like queer recommendations, it's because I connect a little bit more to the narrative. Why can he not understand that you might want to connect a little bit more to a narrative by having it reflect your identity and the author writing from a point of view that resonates with you? Like, There are just so many arguments. You don't even know what to say at that point. It's like talk to the
I
wall.
don't. No, literally. Like I just had no words. I had none. And I was like, what do I even do? But I got a rec. I did get a recommendation.
Thank God.
I got a there is a snowy like Canadian book. It's a anthology that is written by indigenous authors.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wait. I also know it's poetry. Never mind. I was flipping through. So if you're watching the video version, then you're going to be able to see the book that I'm holding up. It's Queer Poets of Color, but I was flipping through and there was like a very wintry. It was about like going home for the holidays, and it wasn't horror, but it was kind of like haunting, and I loved it. So now I'm really excited to like get into here. This was actually recommended to me by a bookseller. He literally owns this bookstore, and I was my annoying little self coming in with a DSLR like, "Hi, can I film in here? I'm just going to buy you some books." And at first I could tell he was like, "What is this for?" And I was like, "It's fine. Like, I'm not from Fox News. I just have a YouTube channel." And he was like, "Okay." And then he saw me like actually buying books, and he was like, "I feel like maybe this." And I was like, "So did you just clock that I'm queer? Because I'm also very like femme straight presenting, so that's crazy." But he was very nice to me. So that's the backstory. Maybe this. All that to say,
Okay.
maybe this.
Period. But I thought my Reddit fight was interesting and I wanted to
For
bring it up.
for sure. I do think that's interesting. I'm not a seasoned Redditor, but when everything went down, which we're going to talk about what
We
went
will.
down in August today, that's what this episode is going to be about. When everything went down, my friend Danny, who you've met,
Hmm.
was going to bat for me in the horror lit subreddit. Like, she wouldn't send me screenshots because she didn't want to upset me, but she was like, "Girl, I just want you to know I'm in the trenches."
Now she's in the trenches. Well, I'm glad you have friends that'll brave Reddit for you.
Danny's crazy. She will really do anything for me, like internet wise.
I feel like that's how I am about a lot of people, a lot of my friends, because I don't really care. I, I just didn't want to get kicked out, but they didn't say. I looked at the thing; they didn't say no bullying, so I should have went harder than I did.
One of the rules is not no bullying.
No, I mean like that's not one of the rules. Like they don't have that.
Yeah, why?
I don't know. They just don't have it. They don't have no bullying, no harassment, nothing like that. But they have no. You can't self promote. Like, come on,
Okay.
your priorities
Period.
are messed up.
I mean, that checks out for what I know of horror lit.
Yeah,
Um, are you
I
ready
have
for
one
my
more.
update? Oh, I want to hear.
My last one is that you already know, but I'm in a reading
Oh,
slump.
oh,
I'm slumping
sad
really bad. I think
update.
I'm life slumping.
Life slumping, not life
Yeah.
slumping.
Yeah, I think I'm life slumping, but I think I'm reading slumping because I feel like I'm at this point now where I read so much for like videos and booktube that it just like I don't know, like it doesn't have the same kind of energy
Magic.
that it used to have. Yeah, magic that it used to have, and I feel like I'm like I want the magic back.
Yeah, I went through that after I was on BookTube for like a little over a year. I found myself wanting to do like the very structured kind of like, not to call her out, this isn't a negative thing, but like Books and La La esque kind of video where it's like very creative concept, very high concept, and doing those types of videos for me was torture. Um, for my actual like reading for fun, like it did not connect at all in the slightest. It felt so restrictive, and being such a mood reader, like it just took all the fun and, like you said, like the magic out of it. So
Yeah, and I feel
maybe
like
that.
the I don't know, but I feel like it's also like the genres. Like I have no desire to read
Mm.
horror at all. None. Like why? That is so strange.
Well, you know why? It's because you have these experiences on r/horror lit, and it's like, well, all of you are fucking assholes. Why would I want to engage with this community or like read this type of content. At least like that's how it was for me after everything in August, which we
That's
keep alluding to.
that's how I feel about extreme horror. I haven't read one in a while.
I've
Um,
tried.
I did buy, what
Didn't
is
go
it
well.
called? Dead Inside. It's in my haul.
Okay.
I
You know
bought
what?
Dead
I like
Inside.
that one. I love Chandler Morrison. Actually, you know what? I used to love him a lot. I think it was just because, like, oh wow, what a nice man writing extreme horror. Like, that's kind of rare. The more that I engage with his content, the more I'm like, you're kind of cringe. But it's kind of in like a endearing way. It's not as much. I don't think of him anymore as like, wow, he's so cool. I think of him as like, oh, he's really smart, but like, he's just a little nerd.
I
So I
bought
want
that
you to
one.
read Dead Inside thinking of like a little skinny nerd writing it.
I know, but she eats babies. I'm
Yeah.
gagged.
Hmm.
Eating babies is crazy.
There's some crazier shit in there. Just wait.
Oh wow. Oh wow. I feel like I watched a spoiler reading log on this, but I don't remember everything. I just remember certain little tidbits like she eats babies.
Hmm. Yeah, if you've never heard of Dead Inside, it is an extreme horror book that follows a romance, I guess you could call it, between a man who is a necrophile and a woman who is a cannibal, and her favorite little human morsels to eat are babies, and she works as a like a what do you call like a baby doctor?
A OBGYN or a
That
pediatric doctor? Pediatric?
it's like the
Didn't it
delivery.
it didn't it say she was like a maternity doctor? I feel like that's what it
Maternity,
says.
yeah. She works in the maternity ward, so she like delivers babies, and any of the ones that are like stillborn or that she thinks she can get away with like sneaking away out of the NICU, she eats them up, gobble gobble. And our man is a security guard, and he fucks the corpses that are kept in the morgue. And after hours in the hospital one night, they like run into each other doing activities, and their romance goes from there.
Wow. That's gonna be a ride. I don't think I'm ready for that right now. But eventually.
Honestly, if you need something to get you out of a fucking slump, that'll do it. I don't know
You
how
think?
you could not read that in one or two sittings. Like, I started reading it and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like vlog it out, gonna put some like aesthetic B-roll. No, I could not get up. I was glued to the seat and I read the whole thing in one sitting. It's that
Wow.
good.
But I feel like even like I don't know, I think I'm in a creative slump too. Like I'm just in a that's why I said a life slump. Like you know how I said last time we were talking about the lifestyle girlies and how they're like this was
Mm-hmm.
3 stars, it was okay. That's the mood that I'm in.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Everything life review, 3 stars, it was okay.
Yeah. But like even when I talk about books, I'm like I feel like I don't even have like the passion. I don't know what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
but
Well,
she's
I
getting
feel
me.
bad because my update
Did you finish Dawn
is
of Glass?
no, but I'm on the last book and like I could cry. Like I actually feel the tears coming to my eyes. Like I could literally cry thinking about
You need to tell them your
it.
history.
I do not read fantasy. I have not read fantasy since I was probably in like 5th grade. I just don't. Like I just have had an aversion to it. I don't know why, but I got into ACOTAR because my audience basically forced me. Every day I would get DMs about finish ACOTAR because I tried the first book for a taste test back in like 2020 or 2021, and everyone just wanted me to finish it. So I did, and I was fucking hooked. So then this year, trying to fill the void of horror, which I feel weird about engaging with right now, I was like, I'm gonna read Throne of Glass, which is an 8 book fantasy series, and these are big fucking books, like
Big.
massive.
A
Like,
thousand
I'm a
pages.
girl, 1,000. I'm a girl who I see a 400-page thriller and I'm like, too long, not reading it.
No,
So
for real.
me sitting there with this chunk, 1,000 pages, Cameron was like, "What is going on? Like, who are you? And it totally reinvigorated my love for reading in general, but my love for fantasy, I'm like remembering why I loved it as a child. So Throne of Glass has just taken over my entire fucking life. Like, I absolutely love it. I never thought, as like a thriller and horror reader, that I could be into it this much. There's just something about following characters through so many books on books on books and knowing them so deeply. As a character driven reader, like that, I feel like is what I've been looking for. And I have
Yeah.
it. So I feel like I'm kind of giving the opposite of you, which I feel bad being like,
You know what I think you should read? I think you should read Every Heart a Doorway.
by
Do you know Shauna
Sean.
McGuire?
Yeah,
I
I have
think you
that on
should
my
read that.
TBR. I
It's
think you
not
recommended it to me.
it's not fantasy romance at all, but you do. I've only read the first one, but it is like an 8 to 10 book long series, but they're novellas. They're
Oh,
literally novellas. They're like 100 pages.
oh,
100, 200 pages. That's what I'm saying. I think you would like it, and it kind of has like this magic and whimsy of like these children who go to these different worlds and they go through these portals and then they come back and they feel like all these emotions of like losing something. So then they go to this house where I forget what it's called right now. Eleanor West's Home for Wayward Children. That's what it is. And it's basically like a rehabilitation kind of like almost like foster care, but they all have parents and they like
oh,
go there and they not all of them have parents, but some of them, and
oh.
they go there and they like are basically like kind of reacclimating back to the real world. But that's like every other book. So all the odd books are at Eleanor West's home and like follows that, and then all the even books follow children in their worlds.
Hmm. I'm
So
gonna
it
read
follows
that.
different characters. It does follow different characters, but the first book has a murder mystery in it that had me gagged. Nobody
Ooh.
talks about that. Nobody ever talks about that it has a murder mystery in it, but it does, and it had me shook. And I feel like
I
it has a
think I
lot of
need it.
commentary. It has so much commentary, and it talks about how like oh, like there's just this one part in the book where it talks about how when girls disappear and go into these worlds, nobody pays attention. But when boys disappear, they pay attention and they'll call all these people in to search for them because boys are more coveted. And like how
Ooh.
girls can kind of just fly underneath the radar and nobody ever pays attention to them. So when they disappear, it doesn't really matter. And there's a lot of quotes and stuff about that. And it's very queer. There's a lot of like different queer characters throughout the whole series. It's so good.
I am sold. I'm
You
sold,
have to read
especially
it.
after Throne of Glass. Like, I know I'm gonna have a book hangover, which I don't really think I've experienced many times. I think that's something that's more central to like romance or fantasy. Um, so yeah, that's like my big update is Throne of Glass. On a more sad update, um, having PCOS and endometriosis at the same time just fucking sucks, bro. I have tried to contact like upwards of 5 doctors. Nobody will see me until February, which I started reaching out January 6th. So I was gonna have to wait over a month. My prescription, the only thing that was keeping my pain in check, ran out over Christmas, so I put in a request to refill. My doctor's refusing to refill it without seeing me. And I'm like, I don't want to lose the progress of like acclimating to this medication, but you can't see me till February. So I'm supposed to either be in pain and lose the like buildup of this medication in my bloodstream and wait till February, or I'm supposed to just start over, find another doctor who can get it to me faster. Well, it turns out neither option are available.
Wow.
So I'm just like up a creek without a fucking paddle, in pain every single day, can't work out, gaining weight because I can't work out, and because my medication that I was on was helping my weight, and it was also helping hair loss and acne, which happens with PCOS. So now I'm just gonna be pimply, bald, and fat, and in pain.
I don't want to laugh. It's just
No,
the
you
way that
can
you said
laugh.
it. It's just
No,
the way
I
that you
had to
said it.
cope with it. I had to cope with it like that. Like,
Doctors, there's just such a shortage of like everybody. I'm so sorry that you're going through that. It's PCOS, I have it. No joke. But I can't imagine having PCOS and endometriosis at the same time.
No, that's why when I first got diagnosed with PCOS, everyone was like, "Oh, so I have that too." Like, that's kind of weird that yours is like crazy like that. That's why everybody thought that I had cancer like last year at the beginning of the year. Yeah, I didn't really talk about it on the internet, but I went to get like 4 or 5 different rounds of testing. They were doing like intravaginal ultrasounds every other week. It was extremely invasive and like very traumatic. But they thought that I had cancer because they were like, you should not be in this much pain because of PCOS outside of your cycle. Like, if I'm on my period, okay, yeah, people with PCOS have big pain during your period. But it was every single day. And my doctor was like, something's going on. And I also had fibroids just like growing crazy. Like, when I got, sorry, this is TMI audience. When I got my pap smear, where they put that little thingy in you, she put
Mm-hmm.
that thing in and she was like, there are some fibroids on your cervix. Do you want me to remove them? And I'm sitting there, legs spread, and I'm like, right now? And she's like, yeah, I can just take them off. And I'm like, is it gonna hurt? Do I have to pay for that? Like, all these questions going through my brain. She was just like, it's really easy. Like, I'll just do it. And I was like, okay. So she just ripped that shit out during mid pap smear.
Oh
And I'm just
no.
laying there, like, hello? What is going on? Like, huh? Um, but yeah, it turns out I don't have cancer. I just have endometriosis. So that's really
Well,
good.
at least you don't have cancer.
Yeah. And you know what? It's just a really good life when you can say, at least you don't have cancer. Like, I feel like cognitive reframe.
That's what my therapist was trying to teach me in those videos. That's what she was trying to
Nor.
teach me. Yes.
I hate her for that. This is a reference to our first episode. And if you heard about that, horrifying.
I'm just so sorry that you're in pain like that.
Honestly, yeah, it fucking sucks, but like everyone's very nice to me about it, which is great. Like everyone's very gentle with me, which we should all be gentle with each other regardless.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like when people know that you're going through it, like all my friends are making an effort to be like, "Do you need anything? Like, are you okay?" Like, all my friends are like getting me little galentines things.
Aww.
Yeah, my client, even I had to like switch our session to virtual because I just like couldn't do another walking session that day. I was in such bad pain. And so I disclosed a little bit and I just told her I'm in pain and blah, blah, blah. And the next time I saw her, she brought me a bracelet. Like, she made me a bracelet. And she
Oh,
was
that
like,
is
I
so
just felt
sweet.
bad. I know. So I'm like, okay, people are being really nice to me about it. I'd rather not be in pain and everyone be a bitch to me, but also, like, it's fine. I'm trying to look on the bright side.
Okay. That's good.
So let's break up the sad with Squish. What,
Squish.
Squish Corner? Squish of the Week?
Squish of the week.
So this is our little segment where we feature a squish from each of our little collections.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Should we reveal at the same time or?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I fear we go.
Three, two, one.
Oh my god, I already went. Oh my god, you are pulling out the big guns. Like last week, both of yours have been big.
I know because all my small ones are at home, but I'm a grab some. I'm going home tomorrow, so I'm gonna grab some small ones. So I have a
I have this
collection
little
here.
girl. I
I
like the
have
little teensy.
I Vlad is my favorite. He is the perfect size.
I've heard about
And
him.
no, I love Vlad. Vlad is my everything. Well, him and Cam. But Cam's on a different level. But here's Vlad. Y'all will see Cam at a different time, but Vlad, he's a little vampire and I just love him and I make my boyfriend spray his cologne on him so he smells good and
That's
he's just my
cute.
favorite.
I don't remember what this bitch's name is because I cut off the tag. Yeah, it doesn't say. But he's like a little goldfish. I found him at Five Below and I saw this little like the little tail and this little thing, and I was like, I just can't leave him behind. Also, I'm using he, him, but she's got little eyelashes, so maybe she's she. I don't know. I haven't assigned a name or pronouns to this, so she's kind of open. Comment, DM if you have any name suggestions for Little Miss Goldfish here. That's my squish.
I don't know because she's a goldfish. I think she's a she because of her eyelashes, and I would call her Marigold, but that's just me.
Marigold, or what about Mary Gold?
Yeah.
Like drag queen name vibes.
Love
Mary
it.
Gold. Ah. Oh my god, wait. Are you watching the new season of Drag Race?
No, I'm not.
Okay, well, you have to. I have to tell you just a snippet about it. There
Okay.
is a queen on there with probably the most iconic name at least Cameron's ever heard. She's not like my favorite queen. Cameron is such a stan simply because of her name. Amanda Tori Meeting. A mandatory meeting.
That is so funny.
A mandatory meeting. And her last name is spelled meat, like beef. Meeting. So it's
That is
also
so
like
funny.
it's so good.
No, that's a great name. I don't know if I was a drag queen what my name would be, but it'd have to be something good.
Oh my god, my friend Patrick, he is obsessed with the Whataburger patty melt. And when we were high one day, I was like, that is your drag name. Patty Melt, Miss Patty Melt.
No, I love that. That is a great drag queen name.
Cameron also has a queen name. I don't remember what his is. His something about sports, and I'm like, it's not really giving necessarily queer core, but okay.
I'm trying to get my boyfriend on Cam's level. He's not
What do you
there
mean?
yet. He said that he would come with me to a drag queen event, but I don't think he said he wouldn't enjoy it, but he would come in solidarity. But I
No,
want to
he would
actually bring
enjoy
him
it.
to one. Yeah, I want to bring him to one to see if he would actually like it.
I mean, Cam was kind of, he wasn't ever saying like I wouldn't enjoy it at the beginning, but at the beginning he was definitely like nervous. It was more like a do I belong in queer spaces kind of thing that I'm like, shut the fuck up. You're literally my partner. Like, you're coming. So, the first drag show that we went to together, he got hit on 1,000,001 times and he was feeling really good about himself. But I was like, bro, it feels like you did this on purpose. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, victim blaming? And I
Not
was
victim
like,
blaming.
no. But I was like, you wore a Hawaiian shirt with 3 buttons unbuttoned to the gay club when you're giving frat boy Harry. Like, what did you think was gonna happen?
Wow.
He just
He
doesn't
wasn't
think.
thinking. He wasn't
No.
thinking.
He was just giving his little frat boy fit. He didn't know that it was like gay bait.
It was. With 3 buttons unbuttoned. Yeah.
And he was, at the time, giving skinny little twink.
Oh no.
They never would have known.
He was thrown to the wolves.
Pop culture update corner?
Okay.
First thing, award shows.
Oh god.
All the noms, all the things. Here's the thing, I don't know anything. I couldn't even tell you like which award goes to which media. Like I know there's EGOT, so like Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony. But like I couldn't tell you which is which. I don't know which is TV, which is movies, which is music.
Oh wow.
So I don't really care, but I'm observing.
Yeah, I know Oscars is movies, Grammys is music, and then Emmy and Tony I don't know.
Well, Tonys are musicals. I know that one.
Okay, I don't know what Emmy is.
That must be a TV thing.
I feel like it is TV, like TV and movie, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, because like daytime Emmys, that's a thing. So you think of like daytime TV,
Okay.
daytime Emmys?
Maybe?
A theory. Do you care about the awards?
No, the only thing that I care about is like a lot of people of color have been winning, and like I care about that. I'm
Ah,
like, okay, pop off, like love it for you,
yes.
but like I'm not watching.
Who's watching?
I don't know. I just see the little recaps on Twitter. I don't even use Twitter. I see Mayana repost the recaps on Twitter from
Oh,
Twitter, yeah.
period.
And I'm
That,
like,
yeah.
okay, people won. Yay, we're eating. And then I move on. But Miss Barbie,
I really, yeah, that. It's layered for me.
it's layered for me as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Cause I'm like, okay, because people are like obviously upset because of course, why would they nominate the one man in the movie and not the women who made the movie? So like obviously that's frustrating, but like people are like, I don't know who's supposed to win, but I did see that apparently I think a Native American person is like thought to be winning the category that Margot Robbie would be nominated in. So they're like, y'all are upset over this when like a person of color is gonna be winning probably. And then also like people are having so much outrage for this, but like literally women in Gaza are like pregnant with nothing and like using scraps as pads and have nothing. So like why are we this mad over Barbie?
That's the thing that gets me. I don't know. They said they the Instagram stories that I watched. That's they. Um were saying that America Ferrera was nominated. Am I wrong? Can we get a fact check?
I'm
She was
looking.
in the Barbie movie and she's a person of color, so like great for her. I think people were just literally mad that Barbie didn't get nominated for Barbie, which is like, okay, like Margot Robbie was incredible. She was great in the movie, and yes, this does very clearly illustrate the commentary that was said in the movie, but also it's just giving white feminism. Like the
Exactly.
outrage of Barbie, but then every other issue just is like an infographic that you repost in passing. Like that doesn't really give genuine to me. I don't know. Did you see everything with Hillary Clinton?
No.
Okay. Hillary
What's up with
posted
Hillary?
a statement about Barbie, but has never spoken on the crisis for the Palestinian people.
Wow. That's Hillary for you.
No, literally, and that's what people are kind of saying. That's the sentiment. Is like that's our girl. I'm with her. Not anymore.
Okay, so apparently they think that Lily Gladstone is going to win and she was in Killers of the Flower Moon and she is Native
Oh.
American. So people are like happy because they're like, oh, a Native American woman is probably gonna win. But everybody, instead of paying attention to that, are just mad about Barbie. And that would be the first time in history, I'm pretty sure, that they would win Best Actress, Native American, like a Native American
So
person.
that is a slay. Here's the thing. Let it be both.
No,
Why am I like
literally.
having flashbacks to every therapy session ever? Like, this is to me the problem with the internet is that people cannot let it be both. Like, is it fucked up that like Barbie was spreading this message and then what happened to the women who created Barbie was exactly what
Mm-hmm.
their message was about? Yes, that's fucked up and we can be mad about it. But also you can celebrate this thing and it doesn't have to
Exactly.
be like doom gloom of the world. Like y'all are really giving 15-year-olds stuck in your room on Tumblr. Like that's how I was feeling when I was 15 on Tumblr. Both can be true. We can be like regulated humans that can also celebrate other people's success who've been historically oppressed.
Yeah, and I feel like
Doesn't feel,
nobody's talking about that.
yeah, and it doesn't feel like a hard concept to like speak on.
It is just giving white feminism. I'm sorry. The only people I've seen really go into bat are white women. I'm sorry, that's it.
Yeah.
And some men, some
No.
men. Some men too. I'm not gonna lie.
The gays.
Yeah,
The gays. It's fine. Gays love to hop onto white feminism. That's what I've noticed.
they do. They definitely
Being a
do.
white woman in this world, oh my god, if you are in strife in a club specifically, find a gay man. he will be on your
Be best
side.
friend. Best friend.
What did he do, girl? And here's the gag, is the misogyny goes off. Like, gay men are not exempt. And they often perpetuate misogyny. My friend, my literal best friend on the earth, Cortland, she was sexually assaulted by a gay man in a gay club. Like, we thought it was a safe space. We were very excited to go. And, yeah, this man just kept groping her on the dance floor, like, full on grabbing her tits, taking photos of her, trying to pull her top open. Like, there was a whole group of people crowded around her, telling him, like, fuck off, what are you doing? Like, get away. But it's just, like, the male entitlement to female bodies will persist.
It will. It'll always be there.
One thing we can count on, misogyny. Also, racism. White feminism.
Yeah.
Those are the constants. I don't see them going away, unfortunately.
Nope, I definitely don't. They linger everywhere.
Alexa, play Linger by the Cranberries. You hear about the 8 passengers arrest?
Yes, I've heard about this.
daijah. This has been, I hate this phrase now. I feel like it's so played out and kind of makes me sound like a millennial, but my Roman Empire. This has been my Roman Empire. That I've been going down a hole
Really?
on Ruby Frankie.
Oh, I know about Miss Ruby. I know that crazy lady. I've been watching videos about Ruby Frankie for years before she even got arrested on her problematic behavior. Yeah, I've been know about Miss Ruby. She, I'm sorry if some of y'all are Mormons, but some of the stuff that Mormons be doing is really crazy.
I'm fine to denounce Mormonism. Like, if we lose the Mormon demographic, I don't think they're listening to us to begin with, to be totally real. They heard eating babies and they immediately shut us off.
Hey, there could be a Mormon teenage girl listening to us who's trying to break out of her family.
You know what?
Never know.
Then stay, girl. Then stick around and hear us out. Because what the fuck, Ruby? So if you don't know about 8 Passengers, they were a family vlog channel, which I have a lot of qualms about vlogging in general. Even
I have another update about another family vlogger.
Oh, family vlogger corner. Fun.
Yeah.
I just personally, when I vlog, sometimes it does feel like it's taking over my life. I'm not being present. Everything is curated. I know Cameron feels like that. Cameron doesn't really like to be in vlogs. I've had to make, like, very clear boundaries with, like, B-roll and stuff like that, especially, like, not filming B-roll of everything. Like, I used to feel anxiety if I didn't get, like, the full scope of my day. I just felt like the vlog was very sparse. And now it's like, do I care about living my life, or do I care about if the vlog is sparse? Like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I have my own thoughts about vlogging. Imagine doing that on the scale of, like, your kids are in them and you're capturing all of their puberty, life events, development, and punishments, like consequences, and putting it on the internet for all to see. 8 Passengers, or was this a Mormon couple, white Mormon couple, 6 kids, which, holy fucking shit. So 8 Passengers.
Yeah.
There's 8 of them. That was the concept. They blew up.
By the way, do you know that, like, the whole family vlogs, like Ruby has siblings, like brothers and sisters, and they vlog?
That. Yeah, everybody vlogs.
The whole family
And that's
vlogs.
how they support themselves. Like, I saw a TikTok clip of her saying, like, on a talk show or something, she was like, yeah, I make millions.
Yeah.
By exploiting your children. So anyway, that's kind of the backstory on 8 Passengers, but she would vlog things and proudly post them on the internet that were alarming. And I would say bordering on child abuse, allegedly.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we don't have to say allegedly anymore because one of her children busted out of a house,
Mm-hmm.
ran down the street, emaciated, looking for food and water.
Yeah.
And
And then
that's
she got
why
arrested.
she is being arrested. Yeah, she pled guilty to 4 out of 6 counts.
I didn't see that.
I watched the fucking arraignment, bro. I watched the live. Like, I needed to see because I feel like so many crimes that take place on social media, like, it just ends there. Like, there's no real world justice. It's like the World Wide Web is such a separate entity from our real world. So to see that come into fruition and like see someone actually get real world consequences and real world justice for their abhorrent actions on the internet, I just felt so, it was cathartic for me personally to
Yeah,
see.
for sure.
So it was nice to hear her say from her own mouth, I am guilty of these 4 counts of child abuse.
And I think that this is gonna take a turn for family vlogging.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
been a lot of people on the internet, like whole commentary channels that just commentate on family vloggers. Some of the stuff they be saying is also questionable, but they have a message, okay? And they have been trying for a very long time to get like any type of protection for these children. And I think now with this, maybe something hopefully will start to change.
Mm-hmm. Do you watch Swoop?
Swoop, yeah,
I love her.
I do like Swoop.
Some of her takes, I feel like, lack a little bit of empathy. Not necessarily like for the victims. She's always like very empathetic towards the victims. But sometimes there's this like mentality on the internet, which I think she perpetuates sometimes, that's like, once you're done, you're done. Like, you get one bad mark against you and you're done. Like, and for me, it's like, am I ever gonna forgive Ruby Frankie? First of all, it's not my place to forgive her, but am I ever gonna like her or like think that she's a good person or like consume her content? No. But am I gonna make like wild claims about her or assume that she's not genuine and she doesn't care about her children? Also, no. Like, I don't know. There's just like such a black and white space
View,
on the internet.
yeah,
Yeah.
because like
It's like, yeah, she can plead guilty, but also we can believe that she means her apology.
yeah, for sure. And like I feel like also at least with like Mormonism, there's a lot of brainwashing. We don't even know what Ruby has been through, to be honest, that like caused her to be this way.
Oh, well, we do.
Oh,
You don't know
what
about
did she say?
Jody? You don't know about
Jody. Oh
Jody.
yeah, we do know
Oh,
about Jody. Jody, her bestie? Yeah,
her former counselor.
yeah. And didn't they have a thing together where they would like make these videos about how to parent your children?
Yeah. So Jody is or was, I don't know if she still has her license. At one point, she was a licensed counselor. Now she is a mental fitness instructor. That to me is code for I lost my license, but I still want to practice. And it seems like there's some type of abusive relationship going on
Yeah,
there. So, well, Ruby is still accountable for her
her
actions.
actions.
I do believe she, being in her ideology, was susceptible to that, like,
Mhm.
mental abuse and is very much in that. There was a quote from someone who was held in, like, either like a holding area or like processing in the jail who was with her, and she was asking every woman in that holding cell, like, where's Jody? Where's Jody? Who's seen Jody? I need to be with Jody. Like, that is not
Normal.
normal behavior.
No, it's not. She definitely has some stuff going on for sure.
Yeah. It's a nuanced situation. It's a big win for the kids that this
Yes.
is happening. Like, her daughter put on her Instagram story, finally. She just put a picture of the police car in the driveway with the word finally.
Wow. That's really powerful.
Yeah. So good for the kids, good for actual change coming from things that happen on the internet. It's not an isolated space. Also, good opportunity to open a conversation about not seeing things as black and white.
Yep. And on the note of family vloggers, have you heard about the Ace family?
Oh, is this the man, who he had like the jet ski in the pool or whatever?
Mm-hmm. Austin McBroom.
Oh, yeah, that's the guy.
Yeah, the Ace family is a family vlogging channel who had millions and millions of dollars, but has also been known to be scammers and to scam their
Oh,
fans out of money and like out of things. Like there'll be like giveaways of like you can come and do this with us, and then that will just never happen. And they're just liars and scammers. And the mom and the dad are getting a divorce. Yeah, the
oh
mom
my
and dad are
god, wait,
getting a
wait, wait,
divorce.
wait. This is the man who does the boxing stuff
Yes.
and the woman who encouraged young girls to pull out their like IUDs.
Yeah, Catherine.
Yeah, that is how
Catherine.
I know them. That is like what they're categorized as in my mind.
Yeah, they're getting a divorce.
So, how do you think that extremely public divorce will affect these children who will be able to
Well,
grow up and then Google about their parents' divorce?
Well, they said, in their own words, Austin said that he wanted his children to take over the family vlogging channel. Yeah, he said he wanted them to take it over, especially now that they're getting a divorce. I'm like, your children are literally like babies.
How old?
I don't even know how old the youngest one is, or the oldest one. The youngest one's an actual like baby, like 2 or 3, and then the other one, the oldest one's maybe like 8 max. So I don't know when he plans on them taking this over, but he's like, now that we're getting a divorce, they're gonna be taking over. I'm like, what?
What is the content gonna be?
Hey guys, this is me going to school.
Like,
I don't know. I don't even think they go to school. I don't know.
oh my god.
Yeah, but I just
Wow.
thought that was interesting how they're getting a divorce and like because they used to say that they never fought, they never had problems, they never had this, they never had that. And then
Wow.
now I know. And did you ever see there was this video of them recording and they were doing their intro like, "Hey, Ace family" or whatever they used to say. And then he was like, "No, no, no, no. Like we have to run it back." And then like do it again. And then they did it like 3, 4 times and they forgot to edit it out and like they had the children there with them, so imagine their children going through this thing of having to say this multiple times over and over and over again. So like at least hopefully they won't have to be going through that because most of the content is not really that anymore. But he does want them to take it over. So I don't know.
Uh, like the stress of being a quote unquote influencer with 30,000 people watching me is like crippling for a 25-year-old full grown adult woman. I cannot imagine the weight of millions of eyes on an 8-year-old.
No, yeah.
They better donate that kid's brain to science because what the hell? That is doing something. Something.
The oldest one is 6. My bad. 6-year old.
6?
At least
Kindergarten?
as of August 2023. She was 6. There's 6, 4, and 2.
Oh, the last pop culture update we have comes from the good old TikTok. We love TikTok. Actually, I kind of hate TikTok, to be honest.
I
I
love
delete it.
TikTok.
I delete it at least once a week. I am in a crisis with TikTok. Girl, I cannot. Let me collect myself. I cannot be around hateful takes. Like, it just feels absolutely insidious and it like crawls into my mind and lives there, and I feel very depressed about the state of society. But I also can't deal with chronically online I need to touch grass takes. And to me, all of TikTok is grass touchers meets hateful, and they're just battling it out. And I'm like, where are the normal people? Where
I think
are we?
I think we're on different sides of TikTok. I think that's what's happening.
Oh. Yeah, my sides of TikTok are book talk, which notoriously scary.
Yeah.
Mental health TikTok, equally terrifying. and like thirst TikTok, which people will get mad about the weirdest things when like people are just trying to get their rocks off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that I'm on like black TikTok and like relatable TikTok.
Okay,
It's just like a
cute.
lot of black people doing relatable things, and I'm literally there kikiing like this is me. Like do you see what I be posting on my close friends sometimes, like those TikToks?
Yes, and
Like
I like them.
that's my whole feed. It's just that. Just
I'm
that.
like, I'm like, how do I get on that side of TikTok? Do you know HRH collection?
No?
Oh my
I feel like
god.
I've heard it.
Yes, you do, because she's crazy. Nobody can tell if she's actually a horrible person or if she's a troll. She's kind of like this new era's Trisha Paytas in that way. Um, but
Oh no.
yeah, she is horribly transphobic. Like, even if that's a bit or trolling, like, I don't care. Let's
It's
leave
not
trans
funny.
people alone. Right. They're having enough problems lately, so just be kinder to them. Racist. Trump supporter, but then she'll have like randomly like really liberal takes and everyone will like rally around her and I'm like, do you remember when she said she voted for Trump? Like, I don't know. It's just a weird situation where I don't think anybody really knows her true thoughts. She does out of pocket things. She was scrolling on TikTok and she got a pop up that was asking about her demographics. This girl immediately starts screen recording. It's like, are you a woman or a man, or you prefer not to say? She, of course, goes prefer not to say and has some transphobic things to say. Then it's like, what is your race? She chooses black. And she's
No. No.
And I really think the only way I would end up on black TikTok is if I pulled an HRH collection, which I'm not gonna do.
I don't know how I got here. I'm just here cuz I mean I know who I am. But like I don't know, I feel like TikTok is so like weird. Like the algorithm works. It works. But like my TikTok, what it used to be and what it is now are vastly different. So I don't know how I got here. But I also have a separate book talk, and I only go on there when I'm feeling like extra spicy because it's scary over there. Because
Oh.
that feed is just book talk. I can't have that on my normal TikTok. I have to have it separate. We cannot mix.
Oh my god. Book talk? I can't. Silent scream. If you're not watching the audio, first of all, you're really missing out on a lot. Subscribe to our Patreon.
Watching the audio.
It's-
You mean watching the video?
I'm stupid. Me trying to do a promo. If you're not. Hey, go to our Patreon and pay us money. Here's the thing. If you want to see our faces as we're speaking, $2 a month. You get 4 episodes, video for hours for $2 a month. That's 50 cents an episode.
Literally.
So go do it if you're interested. But anyway, what was I fucking even talking about?
Book talk.
Book talk. No wonder I dissociated because that shit is scary. So my lore nugget connects to the pop culture, connects to the theme of this episode. We're doing like a whole amalgamation here. In our first episode, we referenced quite a few many times the quote unquote situation that happened to me in August of 2023. I'm going to be reliving my trauma for y'all, telling you about it. But I also think that it is relevant yet again because of the recent events. So I will start there. The year's 2024. It is fucking, I don't know the exact date, January 21st. This probably happened. Well-known horror and splatterpunk book reviewer on TikTok. I believe she has like over 15K. And her videos get a lot of views. She reviews splatterpunk and extreme horror all the time. She's like a little girly, whatever. she posts an anonymous book review. She says she's uncomfortable even naming the title of the book because she doesn't want to, quote, have it end up in the wrong hands. And she criticizes the book for being full of child pornography, written, obviously, and it is. We both read this book and had similar critiques to say.
Okay, but how are we sure that it's this book?
Because, there's more.
Oh, okay.
So she said, like, I'm not going to tell you the name of this book because I don't want people to take it as a recommendation. It is that bad that horrible people, literal sex offenders, would take this as a recommendation. And she said she doesn't see the point of it. It's horrible. Period. Moves on with her life. She doesn't think it's going to get, served to anyone besides her audience. And her audience is going to say, oh, wow, what a horrible experience. I'm sorry you had to read that shitty book. And she was going to move on. No. It blows the fuck up. People are demanding to know the name of the book. And she kind of seems like she had this moral dilemma and was like, okay, I want to be able to let y'all know what it is so people can avoid it and not be triggered by it. So she said the name and showed the cover of Broken Dolls, which we both read, really hoping to enjoy. Unfortunately, it was a dumpster fire to me. And
no bueno.
Yeah.
Look at, I'm practicing my Spanish.
Slay.
No bueno.
What was how did you say the women read porn phrase earlier?
What? Lear pornographia?
There you go. Just add the word for child in there. And that is what it is to read Broken Doll. No, horrifying. So, majority of the comments are like, yeah, what the fuck is going on? Like, how is this allowed? What you would expect normal, grounded people to think and say. Well, that is not where it ends, because the author of this book posted a screenshot of the TikTok on a Facebook group which is known to attack people. This is the group where all of my death threats came from, where the people who were incessantly DMing me, telling me they would like to see what I look like turned inside out, came from. This is a group of people who allegedly are there to get together and talk about the horror and extreme horror books that they love. Not the yawn.
I'm sorry, my bad.
You're kidding.
She's a little tired.
I'm kidding. Allegedly they get together to do that, but they have some violent, emotionally abusive tendencies, as I experienced back in August. The author knows about this because we talked about my experience, and he was a part of that experience, which, again, I'll get into. He decides it's a good idea to put this person's username into this group. So, of course, she gets flooded with people in her comments defending the book, which it's weird that that's the hill you're going to die on, is that 100 pages of someone brutally assaulting a child is like what you really want people to say, yeah, that's okay, fine and dandy. That's just fucking odd to me. But they're going for her. They're invalidating her. They're telling her that she's not a real horror reader and she doesn't really know extreme horror genre and she's not a real splatterpunk fan and she needs to go back to her Colleen Hoover. So of course she's posting video after video, just like I did, trying to defend herself. She's like showing her shelves of extreme horror books, trying to like give herself some type of credibility. They don't care. They have this echo chamber groupthink mindset. All that happened was she got attacked. And in the Facebook group, because I have a burner account and I can see what goes on in that group, because I literally had to bust in and gather evidence to send to the Austin Police Department. All they're doing in there is tearing her to shreds. And this isn't a private group that she can't see unless she makes a burner account like me. Like, it literally was just inciting violence. The author then went on to post on his Instagram story comparing his book, which is 100 pages of brutal assault of children, to It by Stephen King and Game of Thrones, insinuating that if we're okay with the age disparity in Game of Thrones and the weird underage sexual stuff in It, that we should also be okay with his book. I sent that story to a couple of my friends, including daijah, because I knew that we would all get a little kick out of it. My favorite response was, he's really comparing himself to legendary work. I think he needs to sit down and check his ego.
They
so
ate.
that
Left no crumbs.
Yeah. But beyond that, it's like, people do in fact critique that scene in It. Like, nobody picks up It and says that was a good scene. Like, people shit on that scene. Nobody is praising it for that. So you're already making yourself look bad by saying, if you like this scene, then mine's fine. But nobody likes that. Also, same situation with Game of Thrones. When they adapted Game of Thrones into the well-known series, they changed the age of the character who was in the underage relationship.
Because it was weird.
Because, yes. So it's like, everybody universally has said this is bad, and that is your defense. Like, there's not one shred of accountability. It is reaching into the past for things that have already been labeled as like fucked up, we shouldn't repeat that, in order to try to defend himself, instead of just sitting down for 1 second and doing some self-reflection. And beyond the CSA that takes place in this book, the misogyny, it's misogyny down. That was my really like main critique when I read the book. And the author did tell me privately in response to my review that I could be a female sensitivity reader for his future books. That has not come to fruition, so it just felt like empty promises. And that is the recent TikTok book talk extreme horror drama.
That poor girl.
I know. I commented on her original video and she was like, oh my god, you're that girl. Like, you probably understand what I'm going through. And I was like, yeah, I do.
I don't have words, because I just know that she is going through it. She's in the trenches.
Yes, she's going through it. And here's the other thing that I kind of wanted your perspective on, is that she looks like me. She's a little bit edgier than me, but she's like a white woman, younger, who reads horror, and her video is the one that like absolutely popped off and that like got under these people's skin. There are a ton of authors of color that have done rant reviews going in on this book, giving it 1 star, calling out the problems in the extreme horror genre, the racism, the homophobia, all of the things. And I was going through and commenting and like engaging with that content. They have like 50 likes.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's really hard for Black creators or creators of color to get any attention at all, to ever blow up. It's really difficult. Unless there's like some Black Lives Matter movement happening at the moment, then everybody's hopping on the bandwagon. And then especially in horror, as we said with the Reddit post, they don't give a fuck. They don't care. Yeah. They're like, race doesn't matter. So I'm not going to support these authors or creators of color because, you know, it doesn't matter. And so they don't get attention. They just fly underneath the radar. And that's just how it is. But it's really unfortunate.
It's just so odd to me that they don't respond to those reviews that are so, they capture the essence of like what everyone's saying as a critique, but the second a little white girl says something, it's like, oh no, my fragile ego. Like,
yeah. And
Me
honestly,
realizing racism in real time.
and honestly, it's probably because too, we talk about this in my sociology classes, how white women are seen as like the top of society, like white women and children, because they're like the most prized things. Like that's what you want, is a white woman and children with with the white woman. And so like probably it has something to do with that, where like this most prized thing is like slapping back at me.
Mm.
Like, who cares if black people have anything to say? We've had things to say for years, and nobody's listened to us so far because they just don't care about what we have to say. So it doesn't matter. But a white woman saying something, oh, now it matters.
And I fear that's why I always thought using my voice as the top of society, thank you very much. That's why I thought that was important. So, dipping into my lore, or should we take a break and do a daijah lore nugget before we get into like
Oh,
the meat
okay.
of the
I have
episode?
a fun one.
Oh,
Um,
let's have fun.
no, this is like a fun little quirky one. Um, I used to be a Hamilton girly. That's my lore nugget. I used to be really into Hamilton every single day in middle school. When we were walking back from lunch, because we would walk outside every day. Me and my friends would be rapping Guns and Chips up and down. No, no music in the background. Like I was there. I went. I saw it when it came to North Carolina traveling. I went and I saw it in person. I cried. Like I was in it. I was a Hamilton girl. I think I still have my Hamilton playbook. That was my
I
thing.
I'm so happy to know this. You know that I almost went to musical theater school.
Yes.
Did you think that I wasn't a Hamilton girl?
I didn't know what you was.
I am a Hamilton girl, but I had my Hamilton phase like when it was really big for the theater community. So it was like the
Oh.
first wave of Hamilton. It was like 2014, 2015 before it was on Broadway. When it was off Broadway, but like I was a
Mm.
stan for Lin-Manuel because I loved In the Heights.
Okay.
So I was standing early and I was so happy to see it get big, but then I had that like pretentious theater kid thing of like, I liked Hamilton before all of you.
Oh
And that was kind of
no.
annoying. But then I got involved in the second wave because I was playing it in the car, like on a road trip or something, and Cameron heard it and he was like, Loki, what is this? And
This
I'm
eats.
like, this Hamilton and it's a musical. And he's like, maybe we should listen to it. So we listened to the entirety of Hamilton on this road trip. It ends. He's in tears. He said, play it again.
But why do I have a similar experience where I literally was on a road trip with my mom and we listened to the whole thing?
It's powerful.
It
And
is.
Cameron was deeply affected. He was embarrassingly in his Hamilton era, like 2019. His Apple Music Wrapped was like his top artist was Lin-Manuel Miranda. And
I'm
it said like
screaming.
you listened to 160 hours of Hamilton this year.
Oh no. But Hamilton does eat. I'm sorry. We need more like rapping musicals. Cause then I'll be a musical girl for real. We need more.
You've got to watch In the Heights and
Okay,
Bring It
I'll watch
On.
it.
Bring It On wasn't written solely by Lin-Manuel Miranda, but he was a collaborator.
Okay.
One of the opening numbers, not the opening number, I think it might be actually the opening number. There's a rap little sequence and it's so campy, funny. It's Bring It On. So it's like
Yeah.
Y2K core. I don't know. It is just so good. We have these concepts for episodes where we teach each other about something that the other person has like a hyperfixation on and knows a lot about.
Hmm.
I think we should have an episode where I teach you all about musical theater lore.
You should. Definitely should do that because
Okay,
I
write
don't
it
know the
down.
lore. I just know Hamilton. Why do you think Hamilton touched so many people? Like people like me, who was not a musical theater girl. I will say I was in one production, and it was High School Musical too.
Oh, who did you play?
Yeah, I was just a background, but I was really proud of myself.
She was slaying in the back.
We had the little scene. You know how in the movie they had the little cart in the like like when they're in the kitchen?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that doing that scene so vividly in my head. I remember us at the end and we were like,
That's so
I
funny.
wish you guys could see what I just did if you're listening. But
You
yeah,
gotta watch. My brother was also in a production of High School Musical, and he played Coach Bolton.
your brother looks like a Coach Bolton.
Yeah, he was very much giving Coach energy.
Yeah, he is.
That was a fun lore nugget.
I'm
I
glad
feel
that you
like
liked it.
that's a whole episode. I'm so excited for musical theater deep dive.
Me
It'll
too.
be a lot more enjoyable than what I'm about to talk about.
Haley's lore nugget commence.
My lore nugget connects to, obviously, the extreme horror pop culture update. And it's also what this episode is about. Basically explaining the thing that we keep alluding to. So, just to give a little background, a little history about me. I got into extreme horror 2021-ish. If you don't know about extreme horror, it's basically an offshoot, a subgenre, if you will, of horror. At times, it is referred to as splatterpunk. I've heard that term used kind of interchangeably, but they are different things. Splatterpunk was kind of like the answer to like satanic panic, is kind of what I've heard when I've looked into the history of it. But it's basically supposed to be this very like rebellious, edgy, extreme version of horror. And when it's done right, it is extremely graphic content, but it has a really great underlying message. And the way that I see it when I read extreme horror that resonates with me is like I am either reliving something traumatic in a cathartic and safe way, and it feels healing because like either the character that's going through the hard thing is getting their revenge or, you know, whatever. Or it has commentary on something that I'm like, oh wow, I'm being exposed to the extremity of real life horror, and like this is how it is, and the world is not all sunshine and rainbows, and when you've lived a hard life, sometimes that feels better than reading, you know, a romance and feeling this like unrelatable, unattainable, fluffy feeling. So that's kind of how I got into it. But very quickly, I would say like within the first year that I got into extreme horror, I was reading all the like common recommendations and just noticing things that like glaringly stood out to me and made me extremely, extremely uncomfortable. There is just like a wide usage of slurs in extreme horror books. Like that's just like an accepted thing that these authors do. And when I first started talking about it, you know, I was talking about it like I would talk about any literature, where I was like, why the fuck is a white person writing the N-word in this book and publishing it and nobody's saying anything? Like, what the fuck? This is a problem. And I was expecting the response to be, oh my God, like, thank you for the warning. Like, let's not read from this author. Obviously, he's got some bias at the very least, or racism, outright harm at the very most, which I feel that's pretty clear. There's direct evidence for that. Allegedly. Yeah, go off. Did you hear her scream?
Yeah, I did.
She said, yeah, speak on it. That was really the first thing that horrified me, and I was so appalled that the response that I got when I spoke about it in book review videos was, well, apparently the extreme horror did its job because you're triggered.
Mm-mm.
And I was like, well, that's really funny because I'm actually not triggered. That word doesn't have history with me. It doesn't really affect me. But I do think it's my job, like I was saying earlier, to warn others. And also to say, like, this is fucked up. Don't do it. What the hell? It was just the weirdest response I've ever gotten to anything. Like, I did not think I was changing the world and being this white savior by calling out this word. It was just like a, yo, what the fuck is going on? And that was not the response that I got. It was odd. And then I noticed that happening with usage of the R word and the F slur for queer people. Just, it was a constant theme. So that was the first thing that kind of like put my hackles up. And then I felt like I was reading with a little bit more of a critical lens. And I started to notice that the misogyny in extreme horror stories goes beyond fiction. There is an unintentional layer of misogyny underscoring many, if not all, female characters in the genre, and there is an underlying racism underscoring all characters of color, if there even are any, because the extreme horror books that I've read have had like maybe 2 characters of color, and I'm pretty sure they were literally described by the term gangstas.
No. I've never read one, actually.
If you want to read something absolutely horrifying that you shouldn't read, Yellow by Erin Beauregard.
No. They love recommending that one, too.
I know. And that's why I'm like, how are you recommending this book where it's majority characters of color that are written by a white author that are the most stereotyped I've ever read in my life, that are literally referred to as gangstas and thugs? Like, how is this allowed? Also, the one main white character in the book is the one who repeatedly says the N-word.
No. That's
fucked up all
why.
around. Just fucked up
Why?
all around. It's literally crazy that these girlies on TikTok are like, read, like, what's going on? Wake up. I don't know, but people like to say it's part of the genre. It's what it's designed to do, is to horrify you and offend you. And I'm like, there's a difference between carefully crafted and intentional horror and literary devices and just being a racist, misogynist fucking pig. So that was my take that I spread around the internet. And at first it was just in my review videos that I post normally, but things came to a head when Hub came out. Hub is a book that is
it really a book?
Is it a book? Or is it CP? That is what we all wonder. Usually, here's the thing about extreme horror, is since it's that extreme, it's usually short. Like, these books are mini, teeny, tiny. 100 pages, maybe 200 pages if there's a little bit more like character development.
Depth,
Hub
nuance.
is over 300 pages. That is nearly unheard of for an extreme horror book, especially one that goes to a level that not many people would elect to read about, and that is almost exclusively about the assault of children. This book, I knew I wasn't going to read it because it doesn't feel like there's any messaging behind it. It just feels gross. Aspen read it and literally sobbed. When I heard her experience, just the way that she spoke about it to me made me want to cry. The way her voice shook when she was talking about it lives rent-free in my mind. Like, it literally makes me emotional just thinking about how that affected her. And extreme horror is supposed to be cathartic. It's supposed to be healing. It's supposed to be a place for people who are a little fucked up and who have been through things to feel some type of community. So the fact that she was this deeply impacted when she was really looking for something like the opposite really upset me. And I will fully admit and take accountability that I did go into a little bit of pit bull mode, which I tend to do. When my friends are upset or something happens to them, I can go really deep into defensiveness and pettiness just for the sake of trying to protect them. So I did go into pit bull mode, and me and Aspen made a discussion video on my channel talking about extreme horror, the critiques that we have, and basically just saying like, hey, it's time to talk about this, because why the fuck are all of these things just so normalized in the genre? We also made a part 2 discussion on Aspen's channel talking about the good things in the genre, why we love it, etc. barely anyone viewed that one. Whatever. You can imagine, just based on the brief TikTok drama that I mentioned in Pop Culture Corner earlier, the response that we got. Horrifying. Immediate death threats. Immediately, I'm being picked apart all across the internet. I mean, it was an uproar. I have never experienced this before, since, nothing like it, where it was just constant. I would refresh my phone and it was more DMs. I would refresh my app, more notifications, like horrifying comments. I really never have like hidden comments on YouTube that are like, not allowed to show up when they're first posted because they don't match the community guidelines according to like YouTube's AI or however they sort through it. I had hundreds to go through in my like for review section on YouTube. It was traumatizing just going through that. Well, in the process, someone told me that they were talking about me on that Extreme Horror Facebook group that I referenced earlier, where they also attacked and like released the hounds onto this girl this week. So I busted in, saw everything that they were saying, and I was just gonna keep tabs, I saw some of my quote-unquote friends, people who referred to themselves as my friends and supporters, chiming in the comments, just absolutely ripping me to shreds. Again, for just calling out the weirdness in a genre. I don't know. And then I see this one comment from the author of Hub, who said he referred to me as his little darling, which is creepy coming from any older man, but especially the one that looks like this man, and especially one who has a rat. And especially one that has written basically something akin to child porn, allegedly. So, I see my little darling, and I'm like, red alarm bells are just going off in my head. I'm like, what's going on? Why are you referring to me like you know me? I'm a little scared. He is continually commenting back to people on this Facebook post that I inspired a book that he wrote. I don't care to know about the book because I know that he writes extreme horror. So I'm immediately terrified, thinking this man wrote snuff porn basically about me, because that's what he writes. I didn't look into the book. I wanted to know nothing. I wanted to save myself from having to look at that. So I just posted a screenshot of his comment to my Instagram story and basically said, like, gotcha. Like, how fucking dare you? I didn't even know this shit was going on behind my back. And I already had issues with the genre. If anything, this just like heightens my point that I didn't even know this shit was going on, and it's so much worse than I could have ever possibly imagined when we made that discussion video. Immediately, I'm flooded. My DMs are everyone reading the book, finding the book that I inspired, and sending me passages, just creepy things from it, things that seem like the main character is me, claiming that he used pictures of me to inform the AI that he used to create the cover of the book. So many things. I'm completely overwhelmed. And then I get the dedication in my DMs from one of my lovely patrons. Thank God they found this and I was informed that this was out there. This is beyond inspiration. The dedication at the beginning of the book, where usually an author will just like say, "For my family, with love," or "For Evan, thanks for all the advice." This man wrote a full page where he compared me to a Nazi and called me a horrible misogynistic term and put my name on there. And he said, "It's for you, Hailey." So this is now beyond, inspiration and like a man's fragile ego being pissed off or whatever. No, this is you're calling out me, the person, and dedicating this horrifying work of fiction to me, a real human being. So once I started openly talking about the book and shared the dedication just to like warn people away from this crazy unhinged author, he started making the TikToks about me. They go off on Book Talk. He starts gaining traction. People start coming over to my page because he did tag me and commenting shit about me. I get more death threats. It was like I could not catch a break. Every time I thought, okay, my phone is slowing down, more and more and more would just hit. So at 3 a.m, I was shaking, crying, and I just set up the camera on my bathroom counter while I was about to take my makeup off. And I was like, I have to do something, or like, I can't go to bed. I'm going to stay up stressing over this all night unless I fucking say something. So I made my first TikTok saying like, I'm distraught. I am traumatized. I'm at my wit's end. I don't know what to do. Book Talk, fucking help me, because this man is crazy. That was my request. And a lot of people take issue with me saying that. They were like, oh, she just wanted to like send the wolves to him. No, there was not any manipulative mastermind thinking of me like, yeah, Book Talk, do your thing, go get him. I was literally just scared and asked for help from a community that I'm a part of. Went to bed after that, woke up in the morning, 20,000 views. That's not a lot on TikTok, but it's overwhelming for just the average person to wake up to hundreds upon hundreds of comments and just like people perceiving me in a way. He starts to go off. He made these Facebook posts on Facebook posts that are just manifestos. I mean, novella length Facebook posts all about me, doing the classic Darvo strategy that abusers do, where they defend, attack, and reverse the victim as the oppressor, which obviously I was not. I didn't do anything in this situation, but he was painting me out to be the evil role. So everyone's attacking me. I get more death threats. I get more hate. I get just more misogyny all the live long day. Book Talk starts to see us going back and forth on TikTok. He's doing his thing on Facebook, and we also went back and forth in the comments of his Goodreads. I had given that book that was dedicated to me 1 star because of course I did. What the fuck? And he went back and forth with me in the comments of that review, which is inappropriate in its own right. So that is like the situation. That is what happened. When Book Talk got a hold of it, I mean, it blew up bigger than I ever could have imagined in my life. Like, articles written about it, people, like family members of mine hearing about it, and me having to explain what happened. Me having to tell my clients who are horrified because they're on Book Talk and they see, oh my God, there's this horrible story of this girl being attacked by an author. What's happening to her? Oh my God, that's my fucking therapist. So I'm having to disclose personal things about my life to my clients in order to repair the relationship and prevent any kind of dual relationship with them. I had people trying to get me fired from my job because I quote unquote attack authors and I'm a cyber bully. Good luck with that, because I own my own businesses. So I was the one that you were sending those messages to. Like, that was crazy. Like, if I worked for a therapeutic agency, I probably would have gotten fired. Thank fucking God I own my own practice. Because employers don't do their research like that. They just like to, minimize the damage on them. So that is the whole traumatizing ordeal that I went through in August. and that we referenced in our inaugural podcast episode.
And I think that everybody, all of the viewers, are feeling very empathetic towards you and your situation because that, oh, I was so mad. But there was like, I felt like there was nothing I could do. I was like so flabbergasted and I didn't know what to do at all to help. Like, but I'm glad Book Talk really did rally. They said
They
shut this man
did.
down. They said shut
They
him
did.
down. And
Yeah.
they really ate.
And you know what? I got probably the most hate from women in the extreme horror genre. I think they kind of saw it as like a, no, you're supposed to be my girly pop. You're supposed to be on my side. And now you're abandoning me? Or maybe it was like something kind of akin to that, but a little bit different, that was like, oh, you're forcing me to look at these things that I like to avoid because I like being in this space. Either way, I got a lot of messages from women that were vile. The person who originally posted my video on the Facebook group was pretty horrible to me. And I am happy to say that in the months since that all went down, I have probably received over 50, like dozens of women reaching out saying, thank you for making me aware of the misogyny that I was subjecting myself to in this community. I've escaped. I have stopped engaging with this material and my life is so much better. I've gotten more than that, apologies from women saying, I can't believe that I turned on you when this man was stalking you and harming you and traumatizing you. And the woman who posted the original Facebook post that sent the wolves to me apologized to me as well. Sent me a very heartfelt email, paragraphs on paragraphs, of her guilt and regret and how she's healing from, you know, grappling with having done that to me. And that's great. But I just think it's really interesting that I'm getting all of these like responses. It doesn't make up for what actually happened, but it's nice. And 100% of those are from women. I have received 0 apologies from any of the men who came for me at all. And if that doesn't illustrate the misogyny problem in extreme horror, I don't know what does. Like, I genuinely don't know how clearer we can make it.
Extreme horror in itself, what I haven't really read that many really bad ones because I always took your good recs and not your bad ones. But and obviously what happens in the books is horrifying, but what is been occurring outside of the books is just unmatched. It's so horrific, like what is going on. And
Yeah.
I just can't believe that people think that it's okay to be doing the action that they're doing because no other group does this. Even like they're like, don't attack indie authors. Even when they flame indie romance authors, you don't see them out here. Miss Carrie Cole was flamed and she apologized. She
Yeah.
was not out here attacking people, trying to comfort people. It's the way that they really do send the wolves. Like nobody else does that. And literally it is the misogyny, it's the racism, it's all of the horrifying things in the books because that's what they actually are in real life too. It just carries over, and that's what you were pointing out in the first place was like, these are kind of weird in the books. Maybe we should take a better look at what's actually happening, like who is behind this. And then they just prove it that what you said is true, that literally they are, and the undertone that's happening in the book is because they actually believe it and not because they're trying to be horrifying, not trying to shock. It's because that is who they are as people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's debatably more horrifying to engage with this community than it is to read the books. Because you can kind of, you can kind of explain away fiction. When you have a real life interaction like that, it is deeply horrifying. Also, nobody knows about this. Like, nobody's talking about it because nobody knows about it because it's so niche. Imagine, like, now that I know what I know about what goes on in this community, if I was just like a girly, like working a corporate job, and there was a guy in a cubicle next to me who read extreme horror, I would not judge. I would be like, oh my God, yeah, like tell me about it. That's so niche. That's so weird and interesting. Like, I want to know. Now, I would say this man needs to be on a watch list.
Yeah, especially if he engages with the community,
Mm-hmm.
because the community is just insane, bro. There's no other way to
I
put
feel
it.
like somebody has to make a documentary on this. Like, the general public needs to know that this shit exists. And beyond that, which is kind of the conversation that's been opened with everything happening this week, we need to talk about what happens, or what has the capacity to happen, if these books end up in the wrong hands.
Yes.
Because are you gonna cater to a pedophile?
And as you said, there literally needs to be a documentary, and you're going to be interviewed for it. I don't know who's going to make it, but somebody needs to, because it's insane. And like, people need to be aware. Like, when we first discovered it, like you first discovered it, and then I heard about it from you, I was like, oh my God, this is so fun, this is so cute and so quirky. Like, no, it's not fun, cute, and quirky anymore. And they're ruining a good thing. There are good authors out here who are actually like doing the work and want to make stories that actually have meaning and nuance and impact people, and they're just ruining it for everybody else. Now the genre has a stain on it that will never be erased.
Never. No. I can't engage with the genre anymore. Since that all happened, I've tried, and I can't do it because I physically, like, my brain cannot separate what's happening on the page from what I experienced in real life with these same people.
No, yeah, even as I said, I haven't really read any since, because it's just like, you don't even know who you're supporting anymore. Like, when we
Right.
write these books, like, you don't know who's behind it and what they're thinking, what their thoughts are, and they could be dangerous. I don't want to support
Mm-hmm.
people who are literally dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, the majority of comments that I got from people who had no idea about the genre, obviously they were very kind to me and understanding, but the main sentiment was like, somebody check this man's hard drive. If
No,
he was
literally.
obsessed with me, dedicating books to me when I didn't even think about him, I literally read one book by him and moved on. I mean, the hyperfixation and the capacity for danger that signals, I can't even imagine.
I don't even have words, because it's just baffling. The way that people act is baffling to me. I just didn't even know before this, like, that this existed. Like, in this capacity, like, that people just don't know about it. Like, the
Yeah.
FBI, they got to be in that Facebook group because something's
Yeah.
going on. Like, and
Somebody's got to bust in there.
something, because the fact that this is operating on the normal internet and not like the dark web is really crazy to me,
Yeah.
because this is just like the regular internet. And again, as you said, people, this is the hill that you're willing to die on, is this. Like, I don't understand that. Like, if you want
I
to
don't
die on
either.
the hill that Feyre and Rhysand are OTP, that's cool. But the fact that you are defending literally children being molested and abused for pages upon pages, as this is okay, I don't understand.
Mm-mm.
Anything
I
else,
don't.
get anything else. They need to touch grass real bad, go into
Mm-hmm.
nature, connect with something, find something. Like, why is this the thing that, like, because most of the people in that Facebook group, that's their whole lives, that's what they do.
Oh, yeah.
Even that's not
Every
their
post
job.
has comments with the same people. The really horrifying stuff to me is when someone requests, can you recommend me an extreme horror with smut?
No,
And it's
no.
a R word scene or an assault scene that people are recommending as quote unquote smut. I literally have screenshots of those posts. I'm getting an anxiety rash. Oh my God.
Oh no.
I have screenshots of people commenting, recommending books for extreme horror smut that are literally just rape. Yeah. Somebody needs to do like a don't fuck with cats type of documentary, because I know the people who are the biggest fans, and probably the biggest fans but the quietest ones, are perpetrators of real life violence.
Probably.
Yeah. And I can already hear the comments now of like, oh my God, she's just judging the entire genre. It's like, no, I'm judging what I know of these people that I've had interactions with. If you have repeatedly negative and scary interactions with a group of very niche people who elect to be a part of this group, it's not just like something that's a part of them that they can't control. It's like, no, you've chosen to engage with this content, and every single person who chooses to engage with this content, I have negative experiences with. I believe that that is information. I don't believe that it's a judgment. I believe that it's an observation based on fact.
Yeah, and you say it's niche, but it's not like it's like 3 people. It's
Right.
it's a quite a bit of people.
Thousands. I think there are. I can check how many people are in that Facebook group. And I have screenshots of this Facebook group. I'm just
and I
compiling
think people
evidence.
people don't understand too. I think we talk about this a lot, like in sociology, is like when not everybody in that group is going to be active, sure, but when you just sit back and allow people to do horrible things and say horrible things and be misogynistic and be racist, you are then sexist and racist yourself, because you are
Mm-hmm.
literally allowing them to do these things and you're not saying anything, you're not speaking on it. So as you said, the quietest ones are probably the most dangerous in reality, because they're just sitting back and letting people do this behavior like it's okay.
Oh my God. I literally logged on here to see how many people were in this group to like give the scope. First post I see 20 hours ago. Hey guys, is there any books that are like 50 Shades of Grey with a hint of, I don't know, Hills Have Eyes? Kind of romance but raunchy horror kind of story? The Hills Have
No.
Eyes is about a group of inbred murderers who sexually assault and try to impregnate like just regular women on vacation.
Can't they just say, like, with a little bit of Halloween or something? Like, fuck Michael Myers. Like, I don't care, but why does it have to be that?
And someone is recommending Dead Inside, which is literally satire riffing on the problems in the extreme horror genre. Someone also recommended Talia, which is about a sex worker and all of the shit that she has to put up with, so she starts to get revenge on her clients. That's not smut. Splatter smut is apparently a subgenre. Like, this shit is crazy.
No.
Every time I look at this group, I am just... Someone recommended The Resurrectionist by Wrath James White, which is
I
about
haven't
a
read
woman.
that one yet.
I'll give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. Honestly, Wrath
I know
James
you
White,
liked it.
kind of good. But it's about a woman who gets raped every single night by her neighbor. Like, that is the plot of the book. And for me, I was like, oh, yeah, this is what it feels like to relive sexual assault trauma. It's literally like it's happening to you every night when you go to bed. And there was commentary in there, but it was also like a riveting, thrilling story. But it was not smut. And someone recommended it. I'm not going to put his name on there. Maybe I should. But literally, that is what he responded to the post. 5,000 members.
No. No.
And
5,000 people
this
think
is
it's
a
okay.
private group. Like, you have to prove that you're an extreme horror stan to enter this group.
5,000
This is not
people just
even
think
all
it's
of
okay.
them. Yeah. 5,000 people. Like, think of the percentage of society that thinks that this is okay.
You just never know. You never know. Like, there are some people, I'm not going to say who, that sleep in bed next to other people that read extreme horror like this. Like, and is just okay with it. I think people need to do some self-reflecting and to go touch grass. Immensely.
And you know what? That's the thing that they take the most issue with, that I will continually say when I review extreme horror, is like the self-reflection piece. I will always say, like, hey, I'm not going to have any type of judgment on you, but I want you to do your own reflection on how this community has impacted you, what it means for you to read this content and then rate it 5 stars. And they just say that it's judgment, when really I didn't say anything. It's their own thoughts that are coming up, their own self-reflection, that they're realizing, oh shit, I don't like this, and they have to project it back onto me.
Yeah. This is dark. We chose a dark topic for the second episode.
I know. All the episodes are not going to be like this, guys. Don't worry. But
look, the last one was fun.
It was
Smash
so
or Pass.
fun. Yeah, Smash or Pass was a slay. Next week will probably be something a little bit brighter, but this was an essential piece of lore to explore. And when this shit went down this week with this book talker, I just couldn't not talk about it. Like, I couldn't not. It was also deeply validating to me that, like, oh, it wasn't just me. There's not something about just me that made these people go feral and want to murder me. Like, they're just like that.
This was a good episode.
Anything else to add?
I don't have words because it's just so crazy. It's just crazy.
It is.
And I just don't understand how people think these things are okay. And I'll just never understand.
Yeah, it's that part, but it's also I don't understand how nobody's talking about this.
Me either. And people who don't read extreme horror, they were like rallying around you. Mm-hmm. Now, where are they?
Gone.
They don't care.
They don't care. They don't care anymore. It was a passing trend.
This is dangerous.
And here's the concerning part, is that they cared about my cause when I was under threat of violence. Now that the imminent threat has been put away, nobody cares.
No, when this is dangerous to so many people. And as you said, what happens if it gets in the hands of the wrong people? Think about that. That's so dangerous.
So if you're a hyperfixation Reddit rabbit hole kind of girly, have fun after this episode, but also be careful. If you start to go down the rabbit hole and really see the dark parts of this community, take care of yourself, look out for yourself. I hope you like the Gab.
Don't be drab.
See you next week.